Emmerdale bombshell. Moira Dingle's deadly secret threatens to unravel as Barton closes in on the truth. The past refuses to stay buried in Emmerdale, and this week's explosive episode proved just how dangerously close secrets can come to the surface, especially when the stakes involve betrayal, buried guilt, and a long unsolved murder. After years of mystery surrounding Emma Barton's death, a long-dormant truth has finally been unearthed. And at the center of it all? Moira Dingle, whose dark past may be about to destroy everything she's worked so hard to protect. In a tension-filled, multi-layered episode, the show masterfully intertwined chaos, family secrets, and a wedding teetering on the edge of disaster. While Erin Dingle and John Sugden prepared for what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of their lives, a deadly truth was finally exposed, and Emmerdale may never be the same again. A wedding overshadowed by absence and anxiety. The day started with anticipation. Villagers gathered for the highly awaited wedding of Erin Dingle and John Sugden, a celebration meant to be a new beginning after years of trauma, heartbreak, and healing for both men. But as guests assembled at the Woolpack, whispers of concern began to grow. Where were the grooms? Neither Erin nor John had arrived, and even worse, their best man Mackenzie Boyd was also missing without explanation. As anxiety mounted, the crowd tried to keep spirits high, but concern soon gave way to frustration. With no sign of Mac, Erin was left to quickly appoint a stand-in best man, and he turned to Paddy Dingle. The impromptu swap was symbolic of how nothing about this wedding was going to go to plan, and what unfolded behind the scenes only confirmed that notion. The secret plot, Mac and Ross's desperate gamble. Unbeknownst to the wedding guests, Mackenzie Boyd wasn't simply running late, he was trapped. Literally, locked in the attic of newcomer Barton's house, Mac had become an unwilling pawn in a dangerous family game between half-brothers Ross and Barton. Earlier that day, Mac and Ross had conspired to steal from attic grow house, a hidden cannabis farm that the youngest Barton had been running under everyone's noses. The plan? Rob the stash and sell it quickly to cover Moira Dingle's mounting debts. But like most schemes in Emmerdale, this one went sideways fast. Security app had instantly alerted him to the break-in, and upon confronting the scene, he saw an opportunity. Rather than call the police or react with rage, decided to turn the tables. Instead of punishing Ross, he made a demand, one that carried the weight of years of silence and unresolved grief. "I want the truth," he told Ross coldly. "I want the full story about what happened to my mum. Or Mac's not coming out." The tension in that moment was palpable. What began as a petty heist had escalated into a high-stakes confession, and wasn't letting go until he got what he wanted. Barton. A death still haunting the village. Emma Barton's death has loomed like a ghost over Emmerdale for years. Pushed from a viaduct in a moment of chaos and violence, her shocking demise has always been a source of confusion and suspicion. While Adam Barton took the blame and went on the run, the truth has long been whispered behind closed doors. And now, was determined to uncover it, even if it meant turning against his own brother. Back at home, the mood shifted from tense to downright sinister as he pressed Ross for the truth. Ross tried to hold the party line, that Adam had killed their mother to protect Moira, but the pressure was too much. And then, it happened. In a single, devastating slip of the tongue, Ross lost control of the narrative. "She finished what I couldn't," he muttered. Eyes narrowed. "You mean he, right?" he asked pointedly. Ross tried to backpedal, but it was too late. "You clench your jaw when you're lying," said, zeroing in on Ross's body language. "You slipped up." With frightening clarity, made the leap. "It was Moira," he whispered. "Moira killed my mum." Ross's silence said more than any words ever could. A ticking time bomb. Will go to the police? Now that the truth is out, the question on everyone's mind is this: what will do with it? Will he go straight to the police and report Moira for murder? Will he confront her directly, demanding answers she may not be ready to give? Or worse, will he use this revelation as leverage, blackmailing Moira or her family for personal gain? The implications are massive. If Moira's role in Emma's death is officially exposed, it could spell disaster for her entire family. Her marriage, her relationship with Kane, her farm, and even her freedom could all be at risk. Ross, too, would be implicated for covering up the truth, and the fallout could ripple across the village like an earthquake. Moira Dingle has survived farm disasters, infidelity, grief, and guilt. But this may be the one storm she can't outrun. Emotional fallout. The Barton brothers on the brink. The confrontation between and Ross was more than just an exposé. It was the emotional unraveling of two brothers caught between love for their mother and the horror of what she had done. Lewis, who barely knew Emma in the same way Ross did, is now driven by a thirst for justice. Ross, on the other hand, is torn, protective of Moira, haunted by his own role, and now teetering on the edge of being exposed. The dynamic between them was deeply tragic. Ross had always carried the weight of Emma's death, not because he physically pushed her, but because he couldn't stop the chain of events that led to it. And now, with Lewis pushing for the truth, Ross is trapped between loyalty and the desire for peace. Meanwhile at the pub, a wedding overshadowed. As all this unfolded, the wedding itself proceeded, but the joyful mood was clearly dampened. John and Aaron eventually arrived, with Aaron apologizing for the chaos. The ceremony went ahead, but the cloud of absence and tension lingered. Guests were aware something was amiss, but only a handful knew the scale of the drama happening behind the scenes. The wedding may have been a milestone for Aaron and John, but for the Barton family, it marked the moment when everything
Moira's
began to crumble.
past
Comes back to haunt her. For Moira, the world has been slipping out of her grasp for months. Financial struggles, family tensions, and personal guilt have all weighed heavily on her. But this latest development, Lewis discovering the truth, could shatter her completely. Years ago, she believed that burying the truth about Emma would protect everyone. Adam went on the run, sacrificing his future. Moira bore the guilt in silence. But now, that lie has been unearthed, and she has nowhere left to hide. The idea that Lewis, a child of Emma, could be the one to expose her is poetic in the cruelest way. Moira's actions led to Emma's death, and now Emma's own son may be the one to end Moira's freedom. What remains to be seen is whether Moira will come clean or if she'll try once again to cover her tracks. Fan reactions, shock, sympathy, and suspicion. As the episode aired, Emmerdale fans flooded social media with reactions. Moira's face when the truth comes out is going to be everything, one viewer tweeted. This has been brewing for years. Justice for Emma? Others expressed sympathy for Ross, with many pointing out that he's always been a tragic figure, caught between truth and loyalty. Ross trying to protect Moira even now. He's always been the most emotionally complex Barton. Give that man peace, wrote another fan. And Lewis? Some fans are intrigued by his character development. Lewis went from pot grower to detective in under 5 minutes. We love a petty, morally gray king, joked one commenter. Theories are now flying about what Lewis will do next, and whether Moira will survive the next few episodes unscathed. What's next? Moira on the edge. The stakes are higher than ever for Moira Dingle. With Lewis now aware of her involvement in Emma's death, she faces a grim crossroads. Her best hope may lie in appealing to Ross, convincing him to keep his brother quiet. But Lewis seems like a man on a mission, and his loyalty to Emma's memory may outweigh any bond with his newfound family. Additionally, Kane Dingle's reaction could be explosive. Known for his volatility and fierce loyalty to Moira, any threat to her could push him over the edge. But will even Kane be able to protect her from the law, or from herself? And what of Adam Barton? Living in exile after taking the blame, he may be forced to return if the truth becomes public. Could Emmerdale be setting up a long-awaited return? Final thoughts. The price of buried secrets. Emmerdale has long mastered the art of weaving slow-burn secrets into high-stakes drama, and this latest twist is a perfect example. Moira's killing of Emma was a defining moment in the show's recent history, and now that the truth is back in play, it promises a cascade of repercussions. As Lewis stands on the brink of exposing it all, the village holds its breath. Moira's world is crumbling, Ross is running out of lies, and the ghost of Emma Barton is closer than ever to receiving justice. No one in Emmerdale stays innocent for long, and this week proved just how dangerous the truth can be.